In 1996, John Force ran away with his 6th Winston Championship, and he did it in grand fashion. This time around, the Winston car would give him a little bit of trouble. David Schultz and John Myers did all of the battling of the two-wheeled variety, but not this time. In pro stock, Jim Yates and Warren Johnson banged heads all year long. Hey, nothing new here. And last season, the King reclaimed his spot at the top of the pack, only to hand the crown over to the newly crowned Prince of Top Fuel. This is Drag Racing 1997.
I'm Reinhart along with Bob Frey as we take a look back at the year that was. At the beginning of 1997, it would be impossible to tell the funny cars without a scorecard. Well, here's your scorecard. That's Tony Pedregon in the Castrol GTX Ford Mustang.
Whit Bazemore debuts a brand new team sponsor, Team Winston, and a brand new Ford Mustang.
That's the changes in the Mustangs. How about the Copenhagen Camaro Z28 driven by Ron Capps and owned by Don Prudhomme?
Randy Anderson, a two-time champ in the alcohol category, steps into the fuel class this year, and he would be a factor.
And if you recognize that sponsor's name, it used to be on this car. Al Hoffman, now running on his own pocketbook as we enter 97.
And as always, the ubiquitous John Force. This isn't the way Al Hoffman wanted to start the 97 season. After he climbed out of this, he spoke with our Steve Evans.
This is not what you needed. First run of 97.
That's okay. I needed to get that out of the way early so we can win some races.
In round 2, we'd match up the Mustangs. Whit Bazemore in his Ford, Tony Pedregon in the Castrol Ford. We would see a lot of this all season long, but the first matchup between the two, and this one would go to Tony P. 5:05 the elapsed time, 292 miles an hour.
Some of the best races we'd see all season long would come from Chuck Etchells in the Kendall car in the near lane and John Force. Pay no attention to the red light. Actually, pay no attention to John Force. Pay a lot of attention to Chuck Etchells, who blew up, big fire, and that might be a harbinger of things to come for the Kendall car during 97. Chuck would get out of the race car okay and go on to have a pretty good 97, as we'd see later on, and that would set up the first big final round matchup of the year. Hoffman and Force. Hoffman had gone low ET, 490 in the semis, had set top speed of the meet at 311.85 miles an hour, and you know what? None of that would make a difference against John Force, who wins his 3rd Winter Nationals in the 1990s and starts to defend the championship in a hurry.
Every year, Steve, you get older, you kind of wonder if you just keep pulling them out of the hat. Good old racer Hoffman did a great job. This Pontiac she hummed. Castrol, Mac, Tool, Action, Fram, all the people, they love us. But we're back in Pomona. It's drag racing time for NHRA and Winston. And I love them Oscars. Thank you, Wally.
Starting to look like last year already. Second stop on the tour, the ATSCO Nationals, just outside Phoenix, Arizona at Firebird International Raceway. Take a look at funny car qualifying. The ARP ride, that is now Al Hoffman's car. The Matco Tools machine, near side, Dean Scusa. Remember what happened to Hoffman in Pomona? Watch this. Almost like an instant replay, and that's the last thing Al needs, running out of his own pocket. Doesn't have the big sponsor, but he's loaded up with parts, and he says he's not going anywhere.
Cruz Pedregon in the McDonald's car in the near lane, and that is that new 30th anniversary Chevrolet Camaro. Ron Capps, the Copenhagen car. Capps did not qualify at Pomona. Cruz would not qualify here for the first time in his career.
This whole weekend for you guys has been like a bad nightmare.
Yeah. I can't do this.
That would set up the final. Dean Scusa on the far lane, his fourth final round. 3 times he's lost to John Force. Could he break the schneid here?
I don't think so, Bob. A double tire smoker. Dean gets over the center line, and Force in sparks with smoke wins again. It's got a header on the ground with a lot of sparks, but man, what a drag race.
Hey, what, racing this kid was something else. I think you got to be driver of the year to drive one of these old heaps. He was smoking the hot dogs. I was sideways, front end up. Old parts were flying everywhere. Matt Toole were earning our paychecks. That's a fact. But let me tell you something. Fred Wagenhall said never take his brand new baby Connor to the drag races. Well, where in the hell are you going to take him? This is America. This is the place to be. Even excites me.
Hey, congrats to John. He leads the points. Not bad for Scusa, who has already won as many rounds as he did all of '96.
That was fun anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't win, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I saw sparks coming out.
I didn't think it was ever fun when you lost. That would take us to Gainesville, Florida, the Gator Nationals. There's the mascot.
Isn't that one of those left-handed alligator wrenches you hear about?
It might be, Bob. Funny car qualifying. It's Cruz to the near side. It's Randy in the far side. Randy gets his first 300-mile-an-hour run in the Parts America ride. 5:01 the elapsed time.
306 miles an hour, not too bad either. Cruz would go on to be the #1 qualifier here in this event. Now, Ray Higley, the red line oil machine in the far lane against the Pioneer car of Tom Hoover. Hoover gets the win, but the red line car lights it up at the top end of the quarter mile. Gainesville has had a history over the years of some spectacular fires. This one was bad, but it wouldn't even be the worst of this weekend. Ray would get out okay.
Let's jump forward. Round 2 on Sunday. It's Scusa. It's John Force. Scusa has never beat John in 12 tries. Now he's beat him 1 out of 13 as John gets over near the wall, and Dean was celebrating.
That was John Force's first loss since October 1996. We got Al Hoffman taking on that Dean Scusa kid. Al, who was low ET of every round of eliminations, serves up a big one right here to dish out the kid. 497, 309 miles an hour. That would put Al Hoffman in the second final of this young season.
Mark Oswald, the opponent in that final round on the far side. Mark will not be a factor in this race. Up in smoke is the in and out, and often wins big and then loses big.
One of the more spectacular incidents we have ever seen. Al Hoffman would get out. He had a broken arm, suffered some really bad bangs and bruises, and this race would have a marked impact not only on Al's season, but on the rest of the season.
Next stop, Houston Raceway Park, the Slick 50 Nationals. We would get to Houston twice this year, and plenty of highlights from the first stop. First, let's take a look at funny car qualifying. It's Whit Bazemore in the near lane. Cruz Pedregon far side. Whit got his first 4-second run here at Houston. Wasn't this run. Keep your eyes on Cruz.
Cruz Pedregon, speaking of first, got his first ever national event funny car win right here in his championship year of 1992. This looks like a pretty good run. Now, that's only part of the story. His roller coaster season would continue right here. After a good qualifying run, he forgets to make the cutoff at the top end of the track. No brakes. That could be a summary of Cruz's entire season. Hey, just couldn't get a break with the McDonald's car.
Couldn't get a break, and he was out in left field. Is that what you were going for, Bob?
Not me.
Cruz did get the car safely stopped, finally, and they would return.
Chuck Etchels, we told you earlier, had some stellar moments with the Kendall Super Winch car this year. Right here, he would take out John Force. How significant is this? First time since May of '95 that John Force did not make a final round at 2 consecutive races. And Alan, that'll show you how dominant Force has been and how tough Chuck Etchels is.
We were going to see a lot of winners in the winner's circle this year. There's Okazaki on the far side, Bazemore near side, also in round 2. Whit runs 5:01. That's not the story. How about 313 miles an hour for the mile-an-hour record?
That record would stand till late in the season when it would get shattered on consecutive races, actually back-to-back-to-back events. How about those Pedregon boys? First time we've ever seen Tony and Cruz in a final round. The Castrol GTX car on the far side, 8th final round for Tony Pedregon. Cruz in the near lane. He's in his 31st final round. Hey, Mom always liked you best. Tony?
Another trophy for your mantle, buddy.
That's great. It was a tough race. This was for John Force because this is his creation.
John Force leads the point. Tony with his second national event win in the number 2 spot. And ironically, as you probably know by now, that's the way they finished up.
Jump to the next stop. No points, just a lot of bucks at the Winston Invitational in Rockingham, North Carolina, and 8-car fields. That makes it that much tougher if you want a piece of the pie.
And how much is that pie worth? 100 large to the guy that could win it all. There's that Whit Bazemore Team Winston. He's got John Force over there on the far side of the racetrack. Pretty good old race. And how about that Hound Dog? Force gets the win again.
494 at 307.
You will not even believe that old Coyle, that old son of a gun, what he did. He said, she's dead. I said, what? He said, I think she's got a valve out of it. She's got some dead. He says, on the burnout, just kill it. He says, kill it, blow the body off. Don't even care or seat that hunk of junk. This old Ford just putted right down through there. Leaned on the burnout, smoked like Chi-Town Hustler. It was great. Backed up, and the old pipe come back to life. Yep. I said, what's going on here? Coyle said, it's magic. God made the call. Tough.
Sometimes you put enough heat in them, they'll pick up that pipe, and that's what happened.
And it was still fogging out of that hunk. I mean, it was blowing. He goes, what's happened? He said, don't know, don't care. It sounds bitchin'. What a jig. God. I'll give you, well, it was 50% until I got to 800 foot, and I cut you back to 20.
Hey, wait a minute. That's from an old movie. Hey, I think that was somebody else's line. Final round. Force in the far lane. Dale Worsham in the near side. Force won this race in 90, 95, 96, 97. Oh, did I give it away? He takes out Dale Worsham in a pretty good old drag race, and John Force wins it 100 grand.
Come out here and we push this thing to the max, but it's 100,000 bucks. I was really kind of nervous. It was starting to sprinkle on the burnout there, but hey, 100,000 bucks. Who cares, Hal? Give me a hug. You got your rating tire.
John Castro.
Done her in a Ford. Never forget that.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, Force's old Hound Dog, it can smell money. Let's go to Atlanta in the Fram Nationals. We will start off in qualifying. Randy Anderson far side, Paul Smith near side. Hey guys, it's a non-contact sport. Well, they missed contact there, but Paul, with the throttle stuck, drove it into the guard wall. Wasn't a lot of damage to the car, but with a low-budget team, it was enough to put them in the trailer for the weekend.
Jeff Arend, who once won a race driving for Paul Smith, is now driving for Al Hoffman, who misses his 3rd race in a row. This is Jeff on the far side. No, it's Jeff on the near side, but he's supposed to be on the far side. Oswald throws a blower valve off. That might have been the best thing that happened. He might have just run up and acupunctured Jeff Arend in Al's car.
Once we got it all sorted out, the final round was Randy Anderson against John Force. John Force, who hasn't won a national event since, seems forever, but it's only been Phoenix. And he would not win here. Randy, who didn't qualify in Rockingham, goes all the way to the winner's circle in Atlanta.
I'll tell you, this is unbelievable. I saw John, he was out on me, and I'll tell you, I thought I was in trouble. About that time he disappeared, and I know I was driving the heck out of mine. It was real loose, but I'll tell you, when he disappeared, I was going to live for nothing.
That would bring us up to the Pennzoil Nationals in Virginia. One of the weirder races on the season. How weird was it? Thought you'd never ask. I believe I saw Rod Serling over there in the pit area, Alan. That's how weird this was.
Wasn't he the Grand Marshal?
Yeah, sure, right. Now watch this. Ron Capps in the far lane, the Copenhagen car. Has not been a good start to the 97 season. Did that big wheel stand, broke an A-arm, and then does his best Paul Smith impersonation as he bangs the wall at the end of the racetrack here at Virginia.
You think that was bad? You haven't seen anything yet. That's Whit on the far side. This is Cruz on the near side. Cruz will win the race, but like Ron Capps before him, there's going to be some serious repair work to be done to this McDonald's car.
Oh, man, got the wall. Everybody's getting the wall. Cruz Pedregon would just like to put 1997 behind him, and we're only a couple of races into the year. Tom Hoover Not here. That's Corey Lee driving his car in the far lane. Tom's out getting open heart surgery. Hey, after what we've seen here this weekend, that looks like a breath of fresh air. Little out of shape. Pops the blower. We got two guys in one lane. I see a pattern developing here, Alan.
If you're worried about the guys having enough time to fix their cars, don't be. Because after round one, well, we'll show you what happened next. We would rain out. Have to come back in a couple of weeks to finish this baby up. We couldn't come back next week because next week we were in Dallas.
That's right. We're at the Lone Star Nationals, the inaugural Lone Star Nationals. That's why souvenirs are doing a brisk business. Hey, you want a souvenir? How about one slightly burned body? Gary Densham in the NEC Communication Solution car, also sponsored by AAA of Texas. You think this is covered by his AAA card, Alan?
Are you kidding? If he needs towing, he's got it. AAA would be there almost as fast as a safety safari.
Well, they'd have to hustle. I think men and women of the safety safari doing a marvelous job. Gary got out and was okay. Hey, we folks at Diamond P cover car races, boat races, swamp buggies, and airplane races. Well, it was an unscheduled liftoff. Ray Higley flips the body off, hits the wall, and believe it or not, it actually gets worse after that. Catches up with John Force. They both bang into the wall. John got out and was mainly concerned with the safety of Ray Higley.
I don't know what happened. I just hope he's okay. Too many things happen out here with people. And we come out here, I think the sponsors know the wars that we're in, but you worry about a friend. This guy here is a real veteran. I love him to death, and I just hope he's okay.
He would be okay, come back and race again. And on his birthday, John Force would meet that Anderson kid again in a final.
And just like what happened in Atlanta, John Force would lose to that Anderson kid again as Randy gets the win light at 5:05.284. That's 2-0 against John.
Wow, I don't know if we've arrived, but I'll tell you, we're riding a fairy tale right now. I'll tell you, for Parts America, Texaco, Haviland, Pontiac, this is unbelievable. For the family, Frazier, Meyer, unreal.
It is definitely unreal. The first repeat winner in funny car this year, Bob.
Hey, it's unreal. Hey, but John Force is still leading the points, even though he hasn't won since, how'd you put it, a long while?
Forever.
Or at least since Phoenix.
Back to Richmond. Remember this? Well, at least we got rid of the clouds. That's a definite step in the right direction.
Cruz, Pedregon, and Dean Scoozes. You see some empty pit areas. Some guys were eliminated, decided not to come back. Cruz came back, and after that wild ride he had 2 weeks ago, he would take on Dean Scoozer right here. Cruz would get the win and go to his second final of the season. Hey, for Cruz, it's either been all or nothing here in the early parts of '97.
I think Cruz is just as happy to see that the car's okay as he was to see the win light come on the wall. In the final round, he'd look over at that Kendall GT1 ride. Chuck Etchell would be the opponent, and for Cruz, it would continue. Not the problem, but he wouldn't get the win light either.
Look at Chuck Etchell's 5:04.277. Etchell's picks up his 10th career win, his first since Columbus of 1996, and he got to talk with Alan.
It has been way too long since we had one of these late Sunday afternoon talks, Chuck.
Yeah, it sure is, Alan. I'm really happy to be here. I think we got another engine, but, we won the race, and that's what we came here for 2 weeks ago, and, I'm proud of the whole Kendall Super Winch, Mopar, Mighty Auto Parts, all my sponsors, Snap-on Tools. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
Hey, then we would come to my neck of the woods, New Jersey, and there's the governor. Hey, the Honorable Christie, I'm going to lower your taxes, Whitman.
How'd that work out?
Well, she got reelected again. She's got 4 more years to try to lower my taxes.
Ron Capps, far side. Kenji Okazaki, near side. This is semi-final time. Say goodbye to the Copenhagen car. Kenji, for only the second time in his career, goes to the final round, 5:01.300.
Watch this, one of the best races we saw all year long. There's that Etchell's guy again. He qualified number 1 here at Englishtown. They throw a blanket over the two of them. They're that close. We got side-by-side 4s. We got side-by-side 300-mile-an-hour runs. And we got Chuck Etchell's going to the finals against Kenji Okazaki, hoping to put Jim Dunn in the winner's circle for the first time since 1981.
And hoping to put himself in the winner's circle for the first time in forever. Well, it wasn't pretty. The motor was broke. Etchell's went up in smoke, and Kenji gets a trophy.
I tell you what, I've been listening to this country almost 5 years. This is the greatest moment I ever had in my life. And I appreciated Jim Dunn, all that crew, They've been so nice to me. The Soys of Moon Eyes, all those Brew Paddock, New Taggart, all the Hot Company. in the prolong and Milwaukee. I mean, we're not here except those guys, you know, with us. So, you know, I'm just happy. I'm just happy.
How about a good old American high five?
Yes.
We would then head out west. The Western Auto Nationals, our first stop at Heartland Park, wet Topeka. Hey, trying to get one of those wetbacks there and get some of the water off of the racetrack. The crew out there, Alan, at the track, and the NHRA folks did a marvelous job at getting this track ready.
I can't believe you knew that was a wetback. Round one, Tom Hoover's back in the cockpit. First time after open heart surgery. Not exactly the Cinderella return he would have liked, as Randy lays a 494 at 303 on him. But Hoove's glad to be back.
Yes, indeed, and we are glad to have him back. Randy would then take on John Force again. He's already taken out Force a couple of times. Well, he would beat John Force for the third time in a row in this round two match, and he did it with big numbers.
And a couple of Fords that would beat heads all year matched up here in round two. That's Whit in the Winston car and Tony in John's team Castrol ride. Whit comes out on the top of this one. Tony gets loose. Whit runs 5 flat, big speed, 308.
Whit Bazemore would then go on to the finals. John Force watching from the sidelines, now winless in the last 7. Randy Anderson looking to win his 3rd on the season and make himself a real title contender. He would not do it. He'd smoke the tires, and Whit Bazemore goes right down Broadway and gets his first win ever.
Oh, you know, I don't know what to say. It's just great. Finally, it's like a giant relief for me, really. You know, all these years I've had so many people help me, my mom and dad, my family, of course, R.J. Reynolds, T. Wayne, Bob Masson, everyone at Winston. Mobile One, they're a great partner with us. You know, it's just awesome. First win, I never forget it in the performance.
Whit moves up to the number 5 spot in the points, and John Force, believe it or not, continues to lead the way, but Randy's up to number 2.
For 10 years he's been racing. He wins his first one, gets out of the car and says, I don't know what to say. Come on, you should think about these things, Whit. It's Columbus, the Pontiac Excitement Nationals, and excitement is exactly what we had. The new look Columbus Raceway with that new tire, that's Bob Frey's office all the way up there on the corner on the left.
Yeah, that's the one with all the cushy leather chairs in there. Dale Worsham, the Checkers, Chuck's Cragen car against the red-hot Chuck Etchells, the Kendall car. Etchells up in smoke. Worsham gets the win. That was the last good thing that would happen for him in this round. He's got a fire. He would get it out. He'd come back the next round, but Dell, hey, don't forget to get a couple of new shoots on that puppy.
Round number 1, John Force, Cruz Pedregon. Force, who has now not won since Phoenix. That's 8 races ago, and you know what? First time since 1995 in Seattle. John Force in round 1, gone.
Cruz Pedregon enjoying a pretty good day, and hey, I told you that Dale Worsham would get back, and look, he's got 2 brand new parachutes on. The Matco Tools car up in smoke. Say goodnight, Dean Scusa. We get the win for Dale Worsham. That's the last thing that would go right for him. Boy, we've heard that somewhere before, and this time, Dale and his dad, even though they advanced to the semis, would not be able to get the car back together for that semi-final round. He would, however, get out okay because the safety safari, again, would be right there.
What was bad news for Dale Worsham was good news for Tom Hoover, who was quietly having a pretty spectacular day. It's just his 2nd race back after open heart surgery. He goes into the final round against Whit Bazemore and the Team Mustang gang. And if this won't make your recovery quicker after open heart surgery, nothing will. Hoove back in the winner's circle for the first time in a long time.
God bless that heart surgeon in Minneapolis.
You said find a job that was going to be less stressful. Take it easy, old man. You couldn't find anything better than drag racing. Whatever happens in this life, it's wonderful. Here we are.
Indeed. Congratulations.
Tom Hoover would go on to win the Blaine Johnson Memorial Award at the end of the season for that great comeback from open heart surgery.
First time in Madison, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis. Actually, the first time my hotel's been in a different state from the racetrack.
Hey, looks like the world's biggest McDonald's. Going to get a couple of fries. We're going to be here for a while.
McDonald's has 2 arches, like on Cruz's car on the far side. But keep your eyes on Bobby Baldwin here in the near lane. This is qualifying in the Nitro Funny Car ranks, and this would not go like Bobby had planned. The only piece of good news on that run, if there was any, is that he didn't get Cruz while he was bouncing from wall to wall. That is an ex-Gary Densham car. That is Bobby Baldwin at the control.
We would take a look at Ray Higley. Last time we saw Ray, he was putting his seat back in tray tables in their full upright and locked position. This time he gets the wall real early. It had been a wild year for Ray Higley. Whit Bazemore, by the way, was in the other lane. Now here comes John Force back up trying to win one. The winless streak continues. He is still at the top of the points. Cruz Pedregon here on the near side of the race course. Cruz would get the win. Continue to pile the suffering on top of John Force, and Cruz would move into his third and final round of the year, and with this performance, he would move into second place in the points. He would take on Ron Capps in the Copenhagen car. Chevy Camaro would get its first win for Capps. First win for Chevy Camaro since John Collins won at Phoenix in 1985. Way to go, Chevy. Way to go, Ron Capps.
This is unbelievable. I don't know how to cry, so I can't cry, but oh, I don't know where to start. Copenhagen.
Jonas, select few drivers who have ever won in both fuel classes. That's special.
Thanks to Don Prudhomme. I mean, he's made a good life for me and my family. This Copenhagen team are great, man. I tell you, these guys, Copenhagen wins, MBNA, champion spark plugs. I don't want to sound like I'm throwing all these plugs in, but I got to say it, man. I'll tell you what, St. Louis, inaugural track. Gary Gerald, ABC, doesn't get any better.
And he's still got half a season to chase him in the points.
Winston, baby. Winston.
Congratulations.
That was it. My other one needed a partner at home, too.
The other one that he's talking about when he was driving Roger Prim's top fuel car in Seattle a couple of years ago. Up high on the mountain, just outside of Denver and the Mile High Nationals. This is absolutely the finest racetrack on the tour, Bob.
Yep, and everybody is altitudinally challenged. I think that's a phrase.
Can you spell that?
No. Whit Bazemore and Team Winston, he had already accomplished one goal this year. He's won a race. He qualified #1 here at Denver, first time ever. He would beat John Force in the semifinals, first time he had ever done that, 5.20. And the crowd, or at least Team Winston, goes wild. And Whit would go into the final round here. He would take on Chuck Etchells in the Kendall car. Etchells qualified #10. Third final round in 1997. Good old drag race. Whit smokes him, held on, gets the win, his second win in 4 races.
You know, we hate to take Mopar's glory here, but I drive a Ford Mustang. It's the fastest, funny car in the world out here, and I'm proud of my team, Team Winston. I mean, I think maybe we've learned how to win. I know the drivers come a long way, and the team, obviously, the guys are doing just outstanding.
Alan, it took him 2 races, but he finally found how to win.
And he figured out what to say when he won. That took us to Sonoma, California, the wine country, just north of San Francisco in the Autolite National. Ron Capps in the far side. John Force, who hasn't won since Phoenix. And you know what? Whit Bazemore and Randy Anderson this year have won just as many races as John Force. And you know what else? John's not going to win this one. Capps in the Copenhagen car, far side, gets the win light. A 5:21 at 2:85, and John goes home again.
Capps would then go to the final round. We had Tony Pedregon in the other lane. He had qualified #1. Ron Capps would get the win. He single-handedly took care of the Castrol team, won for the 2nd time on the year.
You got to send the whole John Force brigade home today.
I don't know what to say. I got such a great crew, man. These guys, I wish these guys could take this thing for a ride. Every one of them. It's such a great job.
I don't know. If he gave the rest of the team a ride, they might not give him the car back.
Ron Capps in the top 8 in the points, and believe it or not, still winless since Phoenix. John Force still in the catbird seat.
Let's fast forward 5 days and about 700 or 800 miles right straight up the coast to Seattle in the Northwest Nationals. A bucolic setting. I still don't know what that word means, Bob, but I keep hearing you use it.
Oh, it's a lovely place up here in the great Northwest, and unlike Virginia and some of those other places, it wasn't raining. Although there were some things that remained familiar. Case in point, Ray Higley in the near lane. Ray would spin the tires and drive his car into the wall. Alan, that's about as hard a hit as you're going to get, only about 60 feet from the starting line.
Got the car very sideways, and it's not often one of these cars will move those concrete barriers. Well, there's Whit Bazemore up against John Force, and John has not won since.
Oh, I know, Phoenix.
And he won't win here. Whit sends him packing again. 5:06 at 2:99.
Witt would then get an opportunity to take on the other Castrol car. Where have we seen this before? A lot of tire smoke, but Witt would send Tony packing as well.
It obviously went out there, it smoked the tires, it didn't do anything it was supposed to do, Witt, except the wind light.
Well, once again, we're really lucky. That's just incredible for Team Winston, for Ford Mobil 1 to go out and beat the Team Castrol boys. I tell you, I double-stepped it up there. Man, we're lucky. We're just incredibly lucky.
Witt making a chase of this. He is number 2 in the points.
Can you believe that? How lucky can you get? 445. We were late.
Yeah, you were lucky.
Oh, man, we almost red left. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Who is that up there?
Bunyan.
I thought it was John Forrest. You know, John hasn't won in 12 races now and still has the points lead. These guys are letting him sneak away with one.
Yep, the John Costanza Institute of Technology car, Tim Wilkerson against that Scusa kid. Double wheel stands as they went up in the air. Fortunately for the two, that was in qualifying.
Here's Tony versus John. Well, one thing's for sure. One of the Castrol cars is going on. John Force in his first final since forever. 5 flat, 306 miles an hour. And the guy waiting for him in the final is the guy that's beaten him a couple of times.
Yep, Ron Capps in that Copenhagen car would take on Force, but Force would get the win here and end his longest drought since 1989.
For the record, the Copenhagen car had broken throttle linkage. That's why it didn't move on the starting line.
Just want to tell you something here. This untouchable group, Coyle and Bernie, nobody's untouchable, but John Mellon and Tony Petragon, these guys, I love them, but mainly to my fans that are out there, that are sitting out there, drinking in Budweiser somewhere, or soda pots, whatever. I love you, because I'm starting to worry about me too, but I tell you what, I just love you wherever you're at in them bars in the corner of the world, or sitting in your living room, thank God, don't leave me.
Hey, John, did you see the size of that Paul Bunyan guy? I think he's untouchable.
The granddaddy of them all, the U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis. Start with the Big Bud Shootout.
John driving that Driver of the Year car. First time we've seen it on the racetrack in 1997. Look closely. Last time you'll see it here at the Big Bud Shootout.
Kenji, even with problems in the belt quitting, got the win over John. Now he's got the other Castrol car.
And just like he did at Englishtown, Kenji Okazaki gets the win and wins 100 now.
Now let's get to the U.S. Nationals, round number 2. That's Witt. That's Cruz. That's Witt. 499 at 305 as Bazemore cruises to the semis.
Two of the hottest guys in the class would meet up in one semifinal. Witt and Ron Capps, one of the biggies, goes home here. Say goodnight, Ron. Bazemore to the finals at Indianapolis.
On the other side of the ladder, which one of these is a surprise? John Force and his Driver of the Year ride, or Tim Wilkerson in the John Costanza ride? Remember when Bob told you weren't going to see that car again in the Bud Shootout? Well, you're not going to see it again at Indy either, as Tim Wilkerson goes to his first final round in the Nitro ranks against Team Winston.
Witt Bazemore would take on the John Costanza car, and it would be over right off the line. Witt won his first Indy and got to talk to a guy who's been at a lot of Indies, Steve Evans.
You know, Steve, so many people have helped me get here, and a lot of them are here today. My parents, my sister, and Frank Hawley, where I started. You know, there were so many times when I never thought I'd win the U.S. Nationals. I mean, this is just incredible.
John Force continues to lead, but Witt's chipping away in the 2 spot.
Wow. Indy.
Another 99. Another one.
I know. Oh, man. Indy. Oh, man.
We won Indy.
Hey, the crowd really did go wild.
Witt was celebrating today, but he would have a headache tomorrow.
Out at Maple Grove, the Keystone Nationals in the bucolic setting. Oh, we used that already. Out in Reading, Pennsylvania. Very fast track normally, but the weather conditions would play havoc with some of the race cars here this weekend. Jim Epler back with the Easy Care car against Ron Capps. A lot of tire smoke from both of them. Epler gets the win. Hey, it wasn't pretty, but he goes to round 2.
In round number 2, Whit Bazemore would face off against Cruz Pedregon. As Whit goes up in smoke, he couldn't have known it yet, but he will never get any closer to John Force in the points than he was that day.
Cruz would advance to the semifinals. He would face, you guessed it, and John Force would get the win at a 5:08. He would go into the championship round against the former Maple Grove winner, Chuck Etchells in the Kendall car.
1 year ago, these guys did this. It was a double tire smoking battle and Chuck Etchells won. This year, pretty clean old drag race. The John Force won.
What have you got to say to the people who said John Force isn't what he used to be?
Well, I think they're pretty close. I'm a little old, a little nervous. Whole lot of Kendall car I was seeing out there. I was at the Mustang deal. I trying to tell my sponsors, Jet Hot and all these guys and Action Collectibles. I ain't had a whole lot of interviews here, and it's really kind of nice. And Etchells was out there. I was looking at a whole lot of him, but the old hound dog just trucked around and did it.
Not bad for an old pooch.
You calling John a pooch?
No, the car. We would make our second trip to Middle America, the Sears Craftsman Nationals, Heartland Park, Topeka. Some marvelous runs here in this particular race. Here are those two kids, Anderson in the near lane, Whit Bazemore in the far lane semifinals. Whit, who won earlier in the year, right here, smokes the tires. Randy gets the win with a 5:06. The other semi, Allen, probably one of the classic runs of all time. John in the throes of a points battle against his team car.
A lot of people were saying Tony would have to go in the tank to help John in the points. You watch this and tell me if it looks like a tank job.
The numbers across the top, 4.943 beats a 4.944. John into the finals, and that was one for the ages.
We saw this earlier in the year when Randy Anderson took out John Force in 2 straight finals. But it's not going to happen here.
Great day for Mustang. Trying to prove this car what it'll do, and Castrol and Syntec and all the sponsors at home out there that are watching that we love. Want you to know we're working real hard as a team, and we're going to be okay. But Mac Tool and Action and all these guys, Castrol, we love you. Fram Onlight, I want to say to my mama, your old son ain't dead yet. She's sitting by the TV. I talked to her just a while ago. She said, I still love you. You're just fat and old. Can't help it.
She'll want a piece of the purse if I know Betty.
John set the new speed record there, breaking the record that Whit set early in the year at Houston. He would do that in the next 2 races as well.
Memphis, Tennessee in the Pennzoil Nationals. Memphis is hot. It's muggy. The racetrack's slick. Oh, wait, it's not July anymore.
Nope.
This place was spectacular.
Cruz Pedregon, who's done everything but win one of these things so far. 5:05 to take out that pesky Copenhagen Camaro in one semi.
And the other semi, Al Hoffman, the classic Chevy plain white ride, trying to get back to where he was before that crash. Where he was today was on the receiving end of John Force's new 313-mile-an-hour speed record.
Set up the final. Cruz, can he win one here in 1997? To do it, all he's got to do is punch out old what's-his-name.
And all of a sudden, winning the race isn't that important. Cruz Pedregon just 5 days ago had an emergency appendectomy. Might have taken him a couple of extra seconds to get out of the car, but he was okay. Cruz, that was an incredible fire. Are you all right?
Yeah, my fingers are burned. I shouldn't have pedaled it. I was just trying so hard. We haven't won a final in such a long time. I got a little over anxious there, but you know, I'm a veteran driver, but you know, I'm very critical on myself and let the motor rev up a little too much, but we had it hopped up. You know, John's been running good, and hey, I just have to say for all the fans, you know, appreciate the support we've gotten through the years, but I'll be all right. My hand just really hurts and has burned a little bit.
And that's what was left of the Cruz Pedregon McDonald's car. But Cruz would come back and race again. We would go down to Texas. This race made that Virginia race look tame.
Yeah, this one was a little strange as well. This is our annual trek to Dallas, not like the new race that we had earlier in the season. This was the first car down the track Friday in qualifying. It's Richard Hartman. Watch this. Well, when a weekend starts like that, Bob, there's really no place to go but up.
Or home. John Force coming into this race. If he could win this round, if Witt would lose this round, this guy would be your 7-time champion. Standing in his way, Jim Epler. But not standing in his way for very long. 5 flat, 311. Now all John needs is for the red car to lose.
If Witt wins, the points battle goes on. If Wilkerson wins, John gets out the champagne. Is that a cork I hear popping in the background?
It's he got loose out there. He smoked the tires, and it's a great feeling because we wanted 7. Reinhart and Richard Petty, those guys did it. We wanted to do it in this sport, but we're excited for Castro and Mac Tool in action, all our people. We worked hard. We were in a slump, but we're out of it now.
John, does this mean you'll go for 8 in '98?
That's why I live.
That must not have been a cork I heard. Look, they haven't got it popped yet.
And now you know, John Force lives for poetry.
I thought it was for that 200 grand.
Well, that too.
There was still a race yet to run. That's Al Hoffman on the far side. First final since Gainesville against John Force, who wants to win the championship in style. Not like that.
Congratulations to Al. Good to have him back.
Hey, Al, buddy, you're back.
Boy, it feels like it. That was a good run, but boy, I'm happy for Pontiac and my whole crew. The way them guys have worked through the middle of the season, what we've put up with and gone through since Gainesville. You know, I mean, a win was coming, and to win over John Force, you know, I mean, what can I say?
Did you see the red light?
Yeah, I went kind of brain dead when I seen it. I said, John, what are you doing? And I sat there for a minute, but I mean, it was a win's a win. Sorry, John. Come over here, damn it.
These guys go for the throat on the racetrack, but they truly are friends when they get out of the cars. And for the record, Al Hoffman was strong all weekend. He was in the fours more often than not.
I'm glad you said that. I thought Al was going to hit him. The Matco Tools Super Nationals. Dean Scusa sponsored by Matco Tools. That's why he's got this cool-looking car and does those cool-looking burnouts.
Well, that's so the people all the way down here in the motorhome section can see that really cool-looking car. You didn't know that?
Of course I did. Super winch. That means it must be Chuck Etchell. Keep your eye on the far lane. That was huge, Alan.
Chuck was okay. Actually just sneezed the blower on the starting line, and then the clutch comes out of Hoover's car in the winning run. But I'd rather be Hoove. He got the win light.
Yeah, it's hard to look at Hoover's car and figure he was the winner. Jim Epler on the far side against that cool-looking Matco car. Again, keep your eye on the car in, well, you know, the far lane.
This is weird. Houston, we have a problem.
Big problem.
I always wanted to say that.
Big problem.
Jim Epler would be okay. The car obviously was not.
Here's that Scusa kid. Remember, he beat Force earlier in the year? Well, he'll get another shot. Beat him again and goes to the finals at his sponsors race.
Dean Scusa has never won an NHRA national event. They're having a little problem. Watch this. A little wobbly in the front end of Scusa's deal, trying to get it back to the starting line.
That's funny, Alan. I tried to back up a funny car once, and it did that same thing. I thought that was normal.
That's because you have no skill at driving a funny car, but you don't expect that out of Dean.
You're right. Well, you think that would bode well for Tony Pedregon. Think again. Scusa, first win of his funny car career, beat both Castrol cars, wins it here in front of the home crowd, or at least his sponsors.
Dean Scusa no longer just the king of the burnouts. He is now a champion. What was the deal on backing this car up?
Oh, I don't know, Steve, man. I think a kingpin or something's loose. And this is a hard check to keep it in the groove anyway. I'm thinking, don't please just go straight, you know, and it did. Thank God. Oh.
Eric Mullenmeister, a good friend of yours, vice president of Matco Tools, a race presenter. They couldn't be happier down here.
Those boys would need a wide-angle lens when they got all the Matco people in the winner's circle.
The front end was so loose. The front end, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna have to shut it off. The thing, I had like a foot of play in the thing.
Kid.
Oh.
I tell you, they said
someone was looking at us today after that run.
What a long.
And then there was one. The Winston Finals. Isn't this where we started out about an hour and a half ago, Alan?
No, 20 minutes. It just seems like an hour and a half. Round 2, championship already decided. Whit would like nothing more than to just whoop up on Force one last time for the season. Sorry, Whit. Bazemore also needed that to remain number 2 in the points. Since Force won that race, the door is open if Tony Pedregon could win the whole thing.
Little rematch of that Houston final. Hey, where's that nifty-looking paint job? Dean, should have kept that nifty-looking paint job. Tony Pedregon gets the win, keeps his chances of finishing number 2 in the points alive. It's the Force guy against that Randy Anderson kid. Red light. Good night.
Randy threw away what would have been a winning run. Could have stopped that driver of the year car. John Force has had to show everybody in California that car one time, and this was it, the last 2 funny cars of the season.
John would be on again, off again. Tony be in the winner's circle again. He would finish number 2 in the points. Congratulations coming from Steve Evans.
Great job, Tony. The best elapsed time of the entire event.
Well, it felt every bit as good as it may have been. A little choked up here, but really want to thank Castrol, Mac Tool, all pro bumper to bumper, Goodyear. They made these tires that stuck all year. I don't know what happened to John, but for all these fans that stuck with us, we wanted to prove that we do race with these cars, and especially to Whit Bazemore. The guy's got a lot of guts. I think he said it best. Next year is going to be awful interesting.
It sure will be. Bobby sounds like me. Here's Whit Bazemore offering his congratulations. That's cool. He sounds like me after the end of Indy.
Got something in my...
That's because he's all choked up, and he ought to be. Finished number 2 in the points for the 2nd year in a row. Congrats to all of our top 10 finishers and the champ, John Force, in 1997.
You know, Bob, I can't help but think that in the middle of the season when John and the guys were experimenting and having all that trouble, went 12 races without winning, the rest of the funny car guys missed a real opportunity there, or we could have a different celebration going on.
Yes, indeed, but the cream does rise to the crop, and the Castrol gang did it again in funny car. Would Jim Yates get a chance to repeat in pro stock? Well, I thought you'd never ask.
We just finished the funny car season in the dark. Now it's the pro stock season, still in Pomona. Bright sunshine as we kick off in February again.
There were a lot of new cars here, just like we saw in the funny car category. The Dodge boys returned, Darrell Alderman and Scott Jeffreyon. They would come back with the Dale Ike team. They would not qualify. Bob Glidden in the near side here with the Ford car. This would be his last qualifying attempt of the season before going on to try to make some motors and some money over there in the Winston Cup scene. Bob Glidden, for the record, also failed to qualify at Pomona.
The 10-time Winston champ ends an illustrious career.
In round number 1, Alan Johnson, the one Dodge that did qualify against WJ. Warren Johnson, trying to go back to the top of the pack in pro stock, advances past round 1.
That is Kurt Johnson in the AC Delco Pontiac against Jim Yates.
It would be a great matchup, and Kurt Johnson would get the win, helping out his dad's title hopes, or maybe his own. That would set up the final between the father and son. Warren Johnson would win the race and did everything but qualify number 1. Just about a complete sweep for WJ.
I could see that fender right there, and I figured, just hang on.
And you believe a 102 60-foot time?
Geez, we amaze ourselves sometimes, don't we? No, that's excellent for this racetrack.
Had it not been for that broken valve ring, we might have seen 200 miles an hour. Lisa from Cheap Auto Parts, give this man a hat, give this man a trophy, as we salute Warren Johnson, the first Winston champion of 1997.
Hey, Steve, he won the Winter Nationals. That's not the Winston Championship yet. ATSCO Nationals, Phoenix, Arizona, just down the street. Would it be Warren and Yates again? Let's go back a little earlier than that. We've got a Dodge boy qualified this time. That is Darrell Alderman on the far side against Kurt Johnson, round 1.
On board with Team Mopar, did a little wiggle at the top end and paid for it dearly as KJ picks up another round win.
Here's a first-time qualifier, Larry Nance, the NBA star in the orange car as he goes up against George Marnell. The red light was not exactly how Nance wanted to start his career, but hey, at least he qualified. That's something.
Troy Coughlin, part of the Jakes team, against the Cowboy Mark Powick. Now, we didn't see it, but Powick went to the semis last week. Jakes all over the place. In his second race of the season, bangs the wall. He'd come back and run again and be a factor before the year was over. Powick gets the win and goes to another semifinal.
We saw this in the final just at the last race. This time it's second round. It's Warren and Kurt. Once again, a pretty good old drag race. Once again, Warren Johnson gets the win.
An early season monster matchup. Jim Yates and Warren Johnson. Jim Yates gets revenge from Pomona, gets the win, and is on his way towards that Winston title.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, it's good, clean competition. Warren's out there running really fast. Every time we run, you never know who's going to run the fastest ET. It's good competition, you know. I think we work really hard to beat each other, and that tries to drive the whole sport and the whole pro stock deal faster and faster, and that's good for the fans. They're really getting their money's worth this year, I know, because I'm working as hard as I can, and so is everybody in that McDonald's camp.
And speaking of that good, tight competition, we would pick that up at the Mac Tools Gator Nationals. Now Dick Maskin gone from the Jim Yates team. He would go it alone, along with Bob Engels and Rich Purdy, and again, he'd meet WJ.
Each driver has won once this season. This is semifinals. And this is Jim Yates headed back to the final, a 6.99 at 197 miles an hour. Yates gets ready to take on Mike Edwards.
Jim Yates was the dominant car this weekend. He would win it and run 4 consecutive times in the 6-second race.
Jim Yates may have 2 trophies on his mantelpiece from here in 1997, but by 3 tallies, Warren Johnson has the points lead as we left Gainesville.
Finally beat Mike Edwards. Boy, that's been a tough one. He's been a monkey on my back. He's a heck of a racer. A lot of good racing today.
Great job. Good job, buddy. Congratulations.
A lot of good racing all year in pro stock. We would go to Houston, where 2 years ago, Warren ran 199 miles an hour. A lot of people thought the 200-mile-per-hour barrier would fall right here at this fast track.
This is round 1. Warren in the near lane. Ray Frank's far side. How's that for an upset as Ray Franks takes out the professor in round one and makes some points with Jim Yates as well.
Speaking of Yates, it's the Mama Rosa Pizza Carp Tom Martino next up to try to stop Yates. And Martino wins it on a hole shot. His 702 good enough to get the win. Yates is gone.
Tom Martino is not finished yet. Again in the far side. This time against Kurt Johnson. And again, it's a hole shot.
Tom Martino 706, and starting line advantage puts him into the championship round against the Texan, the Rare and Morrison car, Bruce Allen, who hasn't been to a final since '92. Tom Martino finally breaks the schneid and gets his first ever Pro Stock championship.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm starting to like Houston. I'd like to first say hello to my kids at home. They come to every race. They didn't come to this one here. My mom and dad are home watching them. My son Bubba's at every race. This one's for him.
He was stunned, Bob.
The Winston Invitational was actually held between Houston and Atlanta. Got rained out, and they carried over the finals of Pro Stock to Atlanta, and $50,000 up for grabs, and there's one of the Dodge boys against WJ. Jeffrey on out of the gate first, did not have enough race car to hold off Warren Johnson. Warren starts out the weekend big time. Speaking of big time, Mike Thomas, who drives the Gum Out Pontiac, became the 16th and final member of the Holly 6-second club. It started 2 years ago when Kurt ran that historic 6 at Englishtown. Took him 2 years, but finally, we filled it up.
Mike Edwards in the near lane here in qualifying. Not everybody in Atlanta had a great weekend. Kind of got that NASCAR style up and over when the car got around backwards and the air got underneath it. Mike was A-OK, and even the car was repaired to race another day.
It would be another Warren Johnson, Kurt Johnson matchup so far. If you're keeping score at home, it's Warren 2, Kurt nothing. That would end right here as Kurt goes on. WJ had problems, and Kurt 704 would send him into the finals against the guy that is starting to look almost unbeatable early in the season, Jim Yates.
Kurt needed to win this one to get his dad back into points chase, and of course Kurt still has title aspirations as well.
But it would not happen. Jim Yates, another 698, good enough for the win.
Where a few guys struggled, you were locked in the 6s.
Well, you know, this car is made to run on Sunday. Jerry Bickle was right about that. You know, he built it so it runs on a good track. And, I mean, we got out there today, and the track gets a little loose, and everybody else is skating around, and this thing just hunts the finish line like an animal. I mean, it is really an animal out there when the track is like this.
If you like Pro Stock, Richmond, Virginia was Disneyland for the Pennzoil Nationals.
It was the place to be, as the Friday night qualifying just about as good as you're going to find for Pro Stock cars. This is the historic run by Warren Johnson. WJ would run that 200-mile-an-hour shot, pick up $25,000 from the folks at Speed Pro, and he also runs 689.
Kurt was in the 6s first. We had to do the 200 just to keep it all in a family, so to speak.
This was the first all 6-second field in Pro Stock competition. Kurt and Warren, where have we seen this before?
This time it's the final round. Kurt breaks, Warren gets the trophy, and I was there. It took 2 weeks to do it, but you had a pretty good weekend here.
Overall, yeah, winning is better than anything you can do out here. Setting the records and whatnot, that's fine because we got a few points for the record, but winning the race is the important thing. That's the objective of this whole exercise.
The exercise to get enough points to win the Winston Championship. Right now, WJ by just about that much over Jim Yates.
Warren gets his accolades in front of the crowd here in Richmond. For the record, 2 runs over 200 miles an hour. The elapsed time record is now 6:88.
That would bring us to the inaugural Lone Star Nationals at the very fast Dallas, Texas racetrack. And the pro stockers who have given us some marvelous moments already will give us a couple of scary moments here. This is Mike Bell in the near lane against Scott Jeffreyon.
One thing about the all-concrete Texas Motorplex, if you get a little out of the groove, you got a lot of problems in one of these cars. Even though the car slid for a long ways on its roof, not a big impact. And for Mike Bell, the driver of that machine, as we like to say here at Diamond P, he walked away.
In the semifinals, it's Jim Yates again. Scott Jeffreyon in the Dodge car on the far side. Jeffreyon hasn't been to a final since '95. He would get to one right here. 7:03, 196 miles an hour, and a very good reaction time, and the Dodge boys are back.
For those of you that like history, tell me this doesn't give you a flashback. It's Warren Johnson and Scott Jeffreyon final round.
Oh, I'll tell you, that was going to be a race. You know, the Wayne County group, or the Dodge group right now, they're coming back. They're getting stronger every race. The rest of the cars out here are getting a little stronger. We're going to see some drag racing the rest of this year. This GM Performance Parts Pontiac, it's here.
At the Mopar Parts Nationals, Englishtown, New Jersey, it's a race within a race. It's the DuPont Automotive Pro Stock Challenge. Little photo out there under some darkening skies here, but that shouldn't be too bad for these gasoline-burning carbureted Pro Stockers.
No points for the challenge, but big bucks up for grabs.
And it should come as no surprise, but Jim Yates goes out and gets all the money from the folks at DuPont. It's Jerry Bickle and Tony Yates. They're celebrating. He built the car, and she'll spend the money.
For the record, that was Mike Edwards in the far side of that final round. Now let's get into the Mopar Parts Nationals. Troy Coughlin, near side, Warren far.
WJ would start having all kinds of problems from this point in the season. The problem right here, couldn't beat Troy Coughlin's 695.
Troy Coughlin, who runs with Warren Johnson horsepower. Round 2, it was Troy on the far side against George Marnell. Then it's Troy on the near side, almost into George Marnell. Got the car back and forth and back, and just kind of a lazy rollover on the roof. The car wasn't hurt bad. Troy was not hurt at all.
That was the second incident of the young season for the Jags driver. Very talented crew. Got his bell rung a bit, but he'd be okay and come back and race next week.
We're back to the Dodge boys. This is Darrell Alderman against Jim Yates, semifinals. Like we saw with Dean Scusa in the funny cars, there's nothing better than doing well at your sponsor's race. The Dodge is in the final of the Mopar Parts Nationals.
Folks from Mopar really strutting their stuff here this weekend. 3 Dodges qualified. First time that had happened since way back in '82. Now, could they win one? Bruce Allen would try to stop them. He would try, but he would come up just a little bit short. How about those Dodge boys?
I got just a little bit loose down there in 3rd and 4th gear, and it got over out of the groove a little bit, and it probably scrubbed a little bit of the ET off of it.
You didn't want to stage, did you?
No, I wanted to go in last, you know. I'd been cutting good lights the 2 rounds before that, and, you know, I just wanted to go in last that time, too.
Need I say, he's back.
It's kind of neat having the Dodges there. They add a little bit of excitement to this Pro Stock category. We go to the Western Auto Nationals at Heartland Park, Topeka, and we'd find out how the other Dodge boy can do here this weekend. But first, a little score. It's Warren Johnson Tom Martino in round 1. Told you Warren was going to run into some first round problems. Did it again. Martino punched him out with a 7:07 at 195.
Jeffrion and Yates in the semifinal.
Did I say this before? How about those Dodge boys? Jeffrion with an 05, riding on board with the guy that would go into the finals against Larry Morgan, who hasn't won in 3 years. Scott Jeffrion would get the win. The Dodge boys go back-to-back. Kind of an emotional win for Scott Jeffrion.
Just so happy for Mopar, for my wife, everybody that's been through this with me the last 2 years. To win means it all to me right now. I can't even explain it, Steve. Thank you.
I think that just did.
Well, that's 2 Dodge winners in a row. Now it's time to go to the Pontiac Excitement Nationals. You figure if the Mopars win at the Dodge races, then the Pontiacs ought to win here, right?
Only seems fair. Troy Coughlin would love to win here. He's got about 1 million folks in the grandstands. And how about this? After being on his roof 2 races ago, Troy Coughlin with a stunning upset in round 2 of Jim Yates.
Also in round 2, Warren Johnson. That is the new look GM Goodwrench Service Plus car against Pete Williams. Warren, who was going from Rick Jones race car to Don Ness race car to hybrid race cars to back to the trailer.
Pete Williams takes him out with a 7:11 at 194, and WJ's woes continue. In the final, Tom Martino in the Mama Rosa car. The Jags guys love to win in front of the home crowd. Tom Martino, not a sentimental bone in his body. Take that. And the Mama Rosa gang from New Jersey gets the win.
Second win of the year for Tom and the bunch. As we headed to Madison, Illinois, the brand new racetrack, the bright blue sunny skies, and the semifinals has got Warren against Kurt. At least Warren got out of the first round.
Yep, we've seen this matchup before. The only time Kurt beat him when Warren broke in Atlanta. Warren didn't break here, and he gets the win at 7:03, 196 miles an hour, and he would take that brand new Rick Jones car into the finals, trying to win one for RJ.
Jim Yates on the far side. These 2 guys thinking points all year long.
Great run right there. That's why Pro Stock is so cool.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, we've been struggling a little bit lately, just like everybody knows, you know, and to get a win, especially after just switching colors and whatnot, this is really a win.
You needed the points, and to win an inaugural race is always nice.
Oh, winning an inaugural race, see, that's 2 of them this year. Perfect.
Great job, my man.
Moved Warren exactly 1 round behind Jim Yates. Kurt right there, but it looks like a 2-car fight for the title.
What can I say?
Warren Johnson, by the way, has been lobbying to have all inaugural races next year.
Out at Denver, the Mopar Parts Mile High Nationals. The altitude plays havoc with these race cars, but hey, little deja vu. It's Warren and Yates semis.
Warren distracted on the starting line, looked like a bracket race as Yates took the easy win. Again, you see the numbers, but keep in mind we're racing at 5,800 feet of altitude, and in the final round, it would be up to Kurt to try to stop the Mickey D's boys.
I guess nothing's nicer for the McDonald's team and the reigning Winston champ than to win a race and take out both Warren and Kurt Johnson en route to the winner's circle.
5 days later, 5,000 feet of altitude difference. It's the Autolite Nationals on the coast in beautiful Sonoma, California. It's Jim Yates and Warren Johnson. See, some things just never change.
And this semifinal matchup certainly wouldn't change anything except give Jim Yates a little bigger points lead. Warren again fired and fell back, and Yates goes to the championship round where he would meet Tester Cameron. That's right, Virginia.
Well, for Cinderella, the clock would strike midnight at about half track, and Jim Yates would win his 2nd consecutive on the Western Swing with 7:02, 195. puts himself in position to win 3 races in 3 weeks, and that doesn't happen often.
Nope, and we would go out to Seattle, Washington, and the Great Northwest, where the cars run very fast. Mike Edwards won this race in 1996. We'll take a look at David Nickens. This is in qualifying, and David's going to have the same kind of problems we saw from Mike Bell and Troy Coughlin earlier in the tape. Tried for a while, looked like he was going to be able to correct, but the guy that has won championships in the sportsman category, finding converting to pro stocks a little tough.
Warren Johnson in the near side, Mike Edwards on the far side. The car owner, John Kite, for Mike Edwards, had recently suffered a stroke, and these guys were on a mission.
Edwards gets the win at 7:04. The woes continue for WJ. And for car owner John Kite, Mike Edwards would love to punctuate the weekend by taking out the Winston champ.
This is as close as it gets in pro stock. Less than 1,000th of a second was the margin of victory, and Mike was very emotional.
We've worked awful hard today. This year's been so disappointing for me, myself, my owner, John Kite. I tell you what, it just brings tears to my eyes to win this for him when he's not here and he's at home struggling with his health. I just thank God for this day, and I thank God continues to help John to get back to where we want him to be.
At Brainerd, Minnesota, the Champion Auto Stores Nationals, it is starting to look like nobody's going to be able to track down Jim Yates. About the only guy with a real mathematical shot, you guessed it, Warren Johnson. Warren would not help his own cause in the semifinals. Yates runs 7:02, 194 miles an hour, and he's starting to run away with this thing, Alan.
Jim Yates is certainly built on his points lead with the 2 wins and a runner-up out on the West Coast. And right here against Kurt Johnson, he'll pick up another runner-up. As Kurt does what his father did last year, win the race in Brainerd, where they're originally from.
But Yates is now going to 5 final rounds in a row. Only the second guy ever to do that in pro stock. Would put him on a good roll coming into Indianapolis and the U.S. Nationals. Here's that great emotional matchup again. Scott Jeffrey on the Dodge boys against Warren Johnson in round 1. And you know what round 1 has been like for Warren lately. Well, it's more of the same right here. He is out of here.
Let's take a look at Jim Yates and Bruce Allen in round 1. Yates with a real chance to make a move in the points. I don't think so, Jim. Bruce Allen sends the McDonald's gang packing in the early round Monday morning, 7:10, 194.
That was the first time all year that the McDonald's car went out in round 1. B. Gaines, the only pro stocker in the field that's never run a 6-second run, trying to steal one of the biggest race of them all, just comes up a bit short, and Kurt Johnson makes it 6 years in a row for a Johnson to win and 2 in a row for him.
First time in his career he's won 2 in a row. The Pioneer Keystone Nationals in Reading, Pennsylvania, the next stop on the tour. Mark Osborne is back. Faces off with Warren Johnson in round 1. That's the good news and the bad news.
Warren finally gets that black car untracked, and that's not good news for Osborne. 696, 197 for WJ.
Warren, however, would not make it to the final. That's Mike Bell against Jim Yates. Final round. You saw the red light, and at this point, the points lead seems insurmountable.
Yates runs in the 690s every round of elimination, and he is indeed the guy to beat en route to that second Winston title.
Heartland Park, Topeka for the second stop, the Sears Craftsman Nationals on a beautiful blue sky, windy day out here. It's Mike Edwards and Kurt Johnson, round 1.
This would not be a good day, nor a good round for the Johnsons. Kurt right there, out in round number 1. Edwards at 706. That would make it George Marnell against Warren Johnson. Warren would also go out in round one. First time in a year and a half that both Kurt and Warren got banged in round one.
Also the first time that George Marnell has ever beaten Warren Johnson. Mike Edwards in the final again against Jim Yates. Rematch of Seattle with a different outcome.
Jim Yates just continues to pour it on at 7:02, and it is now inevitable. Just a matter of when he wraps up that second Winston title.
Memphis, Tennessee in the Pennzoil Nationals. We check in with Kurt Johnson against Steve Schmidt, round number one.
Kurt was on a high coming off back-to-back wins at Brainerd and Indianapolis. Well, he lost in round one at the last race. He would lose round one right here, second time in a row, and Steve Schmidt gets the win with a very good 7:03 at 196-mile-an-hour run.
Also in round number one, Larry Morgan, far side, Warren Johnson, near side. And Warren, again, out in round number one.
Mark Osborne driving for Dick Sherman in the far lane, only qualified 14th, but he can flat out drive first out of the gate in every round of competition. He would not have enough race car to hold off Jim Yates. Yates gets the win, but we have not heard the last from Mark Osborne here in 97. There's the way they stand in the points, and Jim Yates just about mathematically has this baby locked up.
We head to the Revell Nationals in Dallas, Texas, the all-concrete motorplex once again. We'll start off with round two action. Yates versus Jeg Coughlin. Yep, Jeg Coughlin, Troy's little brother, driving the other Jegster mobile. And for Jim Yates, that's a lock. Championship number 2, 7 flat, 197 miles an hour. 2 consecutive championships for this guy.
The Virginian has won his second consecutive Winston Pro Stock Championship.
Yes, sir, Bob. I'm going to tell you, I got to thank McDonald's, Dynamax, Pontiac, Champion Shell, Interstate, everybody that sponsored this car. And most off, I got to thank my crew. They've done a great job this year. They made me look good when I've been down, and thank God, here we are again.
There are still races to be won and money to be won.
And I'm here to tell you, we're here to win this race today. Thank you, baby.
A lot of folks thought after the split with Dick Maskin that would be the end of it for Jim Yates. That would make a lot of folks wrong.
For Warren Johnson, it's kind of all or nothing. If he wins the first round, he gets to the final. Of course, he couldn't stop Yates here.
Into Houston, the Matco Tools Super Nationals, our second trip to Houston, Texas. This and the Dallas race back-to-back. Had rain on Sunday, came back to run this baby on Monday, and there's that Coughlin kid again. What's his name?
Jag. Only his second race in Pro Stock. He has, however, already won in Super Stock, Comp Eliminator, and Super Gas this season. Mike Bell on the far side of the racetrack would not be able to stop Jaggy here in the semis. Coughlin, in only his second race as a pro driver, goes to the final round.
Told you we hadn't heard the last of Mark Osborne and the Dick Sherman team. Here he is in another final round. He'd have a little problem at the top end, scooted just a little bit, and that cost him as Jeg Coughlin gets the win at 7 flat, 196. This kid can flat out drive a race car.
Just one race left, the Winston Finals back out in Pomona, California. Round number 1, the champ again, Jim Yates against Larry Morgan in the near lane.
Jim Yates already had the championship locked up, and how about Larry Morgan goes 7:04, 195. Yates is gone, and Morgan vaults himself from nowhere into the top 10 in the points. How about that?
This is the final. Tom Martino near, Kurt Johnson far.
Martino, who won the Slick 50 award for his starting line prowess, again first out of the gate, but just not enough at the top end as KJ gets the win at 6.98 seconds. It was a waltz for Jim Yates as he wins his second Winston Pro Stock Championship in a row. The Johnson boys made it interesting for a while, but at the end it was too much McDonald's, too much Jim Yates.
At least it'll be a nice offseason for Kurt. He's got that trophy to polish.
We do have another Pro Stock category, Pro Stock motorcycles, and two guys that epitomize the class, although in different styles. Steve Johnson in the near lane, six-time champ Dave Schultz in the far lane.
Semifinals, Gator Nationals. Johnson breaks early, Schultz breaks late. An 8:42, that is 1 second off the pace that bike should run. If Johnson's bike had held together, he could have stopped Dave's Reinhart terror at this racetrack.
At this track, Schultz did set a new national record at 7:32. He's got Matt Hines in the finals. Matt was really late on the starting line. On board with the Sunoco Suzuki on board for the 42nd win of Dave Schultz's career.
Everything in that motor had never been to the racetrack before, and so that was first time down. We geared it way too low. We just wanted to make sure that it would go down the racetrack without bogging or doing something silly.
The Slick 50 Nationals. Keep in mind that the bikes do not run at every national event. That's Angel Sealing, far side. John Myers, near side. The new look, close call gang. It would not be the first time we'd see the teammates together.
John Myers, 3 bike lengths to the good at the top end of the racetrack, and that would advance him into the finals against surprise finalist, the Hammer, Hector Arana, and the Lucas Oil bike. Hector Arana's first ever final round. John Myers would get the win. He wins his 4th Houston championship and 2nd in a row.
We had both bikes in the semis. That was pretty good, you know, but we'd like to have them in the finals.
The Fram Nationals in Atlanta up next. There's that Matt Hines again. You see close call on the far side of the racetrack. That's John Myers.
Myers would get his 2nd straight win, this time at the expense of Matt Hines, and the close call bike looking good for a 4th Winston championship.
Just a couple of races into the season, and John Myers on the strength of those 2 wins. Number 1, Matt Hines hasn't got a trophy yet, but he's still in the chase.
Jinx is lifted, brother.
All the folks from Star Performance pretty pleased with the way Myers and Angel have run so far.
Final round at the Pennzoil Nationals. It's that Hector the Hammer kid again, this time against Matt Hines. Hines in his 3rd final round finally gets his first trophy as Hector has troubles.
And it's not exactly one of the best runs for Matt Hines as he goes 770s for a bike that earlier this weekend was in the 720 range.
Once Matt Hines found the winner's circle, it seemed like there might be no stopping him. John Smith, the opponent, once we got to Englishtown. Check out the arithmetic there on Matt Hines, 733. 185 miles an hour. Vance and Hines getting stronger as we go.
Into Columbus, there's that Hines kid again from the Vance and Hines Racing Stable out of California. He would match up right here with Dave Schultz in a semi-final matchup. Dave looking for his 2nd win on the year. Little wiggle for Matt at the top end. He would still have enough to hold off the Sunoco rider. And once again, that kid's gone to the championship round. Can anybody beat Matt Hines?
John Myers has the task next. That's the close call bike. But for Myers and the whole gang from down in Georgia, that red light would be the end of their day, and Matt Hines wins yet again. 7:44 the elapsed time, 177 miles an hour, and these guys were starting to think championship.
3 in a row. John Myers, I mean, he's awesome. Anytime I can beat him or race him, I mean, it's a pleasure.
Admit it, Matt, it's more of a pleasure when you beat him. Matt takes over the lead at the top of the points, and he will not look back for the rest of the season. I guess that's what you'd call a proud father and son moment, huh, Bob?
Yes, indeed. Here's Craftsman Nationals out in St. Louis, and you guessed it, Hines on the starting line again. This time it's John Smith. This time it's a semifinal matchup. Smith rides the Anoka Ramsey gang. Red light start for Matt Hines, proving at least for the weekend that he is indeed human. So John Smith gets the win, and he goes into the final round.
John Smith would go into that final round against Dave Schultz. Dave looking for win number 2 on the year, John for win number 1. Right there, you saw Dave Schultz, and the bike popped out of gear, and John Smith picks up his first trophy of the season.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You know, we got our break in the semifinals. I don't know exactly what happened in the final here, but I saw the yellow light come on, let the clutch go, and wind light came out of my lane. That's what I was looking for.
Matt Hines, who is the dominant rider here in the Pro Stock motorcycle category this year, won his first race a year ago at the Mopar Parts Mile High Nationals. He would come back and win it again in '97. That would take the tour up to Brainerd, Minnesota, and you guessed it, Matt Hines riding high again, and this baby is just about over in the points. Mathematically, they still got a chance to run him down, do Myers and Schultz, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Wax Shop Dash, Indianapolis. A lot of money up for grabs, and Matt grabbed it all, $15,000, the grand prize for whooping up on the best 8 bikes in the world.
And I asked earlier, could anybody stop Matt Hines? Well, the answer would be apparent in the finals at Indianapolis. Just like '96, the only one that can stop Matt Hines is Matt Hines, as he fouls out in the finals at Indy for the second year in a row, and John Myers and the close call gang gets the win.
On to Reading, Pennsylvania, the Pioneer Electronics Keystone Nationals. Final round, Matt Hines, John Smith.
Beginning to sound like a broken record. It's just like Matt Hines against fill in the name of opponent here.
And like most of the verses in that record have gone all year, Matt Hines wins again.
He has got a 260-point lead, virtually insurmountable, with just a couple of races left on the bike tour. He would wrap it up at Heartland Park, Topeka, clinch the championship in the semifinals, and would set up a matchup with Angel Seeling, who last year in the final here at this race did not come to the line to race against her Star Racing teammate, John Myers. Well, she showed up here, and she gets the win with a 7:43, won it on a hole shot.
Oh, God, I finally won one. My team has been working so hard, and I owe this to them, and I owe this to the fans here in Topeka. Thank you, finally.
It's a chase now for the number 2 spot in the points between Myers, Schultz, and John Smith.
The Pennzoil National, Memphis, Tennessee. Matt Hines, Angel Seeling. Matt looking for a little revenge after last time, and he got it on the starting line as Angel leaves the red light glowing, and Matt gets yet another win.
More of his final rounds have been decided by red lights on the line than just about anything else this year. Hey, there's that Smith boy again, and you guessed it.
Winston Finals, last race of the season. That one wasn't a red light, it was a pretty good old drag race.
It's been a tough season, long season, a lot of rounds. We made 99 passes on this bike coming into this race, and I guess we'll make it 107.
Unbelievable. A lot of smiles at Vance and Hines.
Matt, if you think it was a tough year, you should be one of the guys or gals that had a race against you.
Last year he was Rookie of the Year. This year he did not leave much on the table. Speaking of rookies, that is Gary Selzy climbing into the cockpit for the Johnson family. How about Kristen Powell, 18-year-old rookie? She goes off against Kenny Bernstein, Winter Nationals, round 2, first race of the year. Bernstein at 462, 299 miles an hour, showing what kind of pace is going to be set for the season.
This will be a classic. You will see an ET record for Amato, a speed record for Shelley, 4:56 the time. Shelley runs 3:16.90. Going into the semifinals, Amato staying alive. Would run down Kenny Bernstein at the stripe, and another 4:50 elapsed time. He's been there all day long.
That set up the final round. The 5-time champ far side, the rookie near side. Count how many times they stand on the gas.
I kept waiting for him to come by me, and I mean, it blew the tires off so hard I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
You had to be wondering if the engine was going to stand that kind of abuse.
I didn't think so. I mean, I just kept hitting it, kept going. I never seen him. I just kept hitting. I thought I was John Forrest out there.
Those cars get a little hard to control when you're trying to do that, rocking up and back.
I needed a Mack truck steering wheel in there to drive it, but we didn't hit anything, and I think the wind light came on. That's why you're here, huh?
And you're looking at a superstar of the future.
The first thing Gary said when he got out of the car was, "I hope Alan's not mad at me."
Joe Amato, round one at the second stop on the tour. Amato wasn't even qualified till the last-ditch effort Saturday night, then he made the field. And then he got beat by Tony Schumacher in round one.
The final came down to Kenny Bernstein, the reigning champ. Near side, Gary Scelzi, the rookie. Far side, this would not be a tire smoker. Just a pretty good old drag race. Gary Scelzi, the first rookie to ever win his first two. Gary Scelzi, 8-0.
Oh my God, are we lucky or what? That was awesome.
Lucky, a 428 light and a 462.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, AJ Power, and we used it up. I'll tell you, I had a little guy riding with me today, and we did it for him.
If he's lucky, Bernstein figures he's unlucky. He's averaged 462 for the first two races, no wins, and second in the points.
On to Gainesville, the Mac Tools Gator Nationals semifinals. Gary Scelzi has now won 10 consecutive rounds without a loss in his pro career. Faces off against Mike Dunn in the Mopar car. So now he's 10-1. That's still not bad.
Mike Dunn would go into the championship round against Amato. Watch Dunn's car in the far lane. Great driving job, but not enough to stop Joe.
We're back, and we got to win, and we're ready to make a run at the championship. Number 6 is on the way. We need us a sponsor out there. Somebody needs to replace the Keystone logo with something good. Send money.
Just the one, Joe. Cool running.
The Slick 50 Nationals at a very fast Houston Raceway Park. Connie Collette in the near lane. And Bob Vandergriff, one of the few 450 cars out there. Check out the numbers, and Vandergriff goes into the semifinals.
This is one of the semifinals. Scelzi near side, Amato far. Joe and Jimmy Prock showing him they also can run 450, still holding the record from out in Pomona. This one at 317.
Amato would win this thing with a sweep. He was #1 qualifier, low ET, top speed of the meet.
And best wheel stand.
Amato continues to pour it on. He wins his second race in a row, and in the points, Joey out in front now by 2 points over Gary Scelzi. The only time this year Team Winston would not be in the points lead.
It was wheels up and out of here. But that's the fun to drive one of these cars when you can have a ride like that, you know? Put my Snoopy hat on.
On to Rockingham, final round. Kenny Bernstein, the number 8 qualifier, took out Team Winston in round 1, met Joe Amato in the final.
The winner gets $100,000, and you can tell which team won it. The guys in the red and white, the guys for the king.
You know, they celebrate because they get bonus bucks out of that. Here we are in Atlanta, the Fram Nationals. Amato, Jim Head, the close call entry, round number 1.
The round 1 woes continue for Joe. Smokes him, and Jim Head at 482 would advance.
Connie Coletta in the near side, Kenny Bernstein far. Bernstein takes the win, and Connie went into retirement. Yet again, we would not see him in a race car the rest of this season.
That would take us to the finals. Again, it's the 2 red cars. On board with the king, and Kenny Bernstein gets the win, and the crowd goes wild.
It's great racing those guys. They're awful good. I'm just real happy for, you know, obviously Bud and Prolong Mac Tool and Hooters and La Paz and NGK, all our people. Because without them, we can't do it. But for the fans, it was, I mean, it's a tough day, tough weekend for this Bud King, believe me.
That takes us to Richmond, Virginia. Now watch Paul Romine in the near lane. This is in Top Fuel qualifying. Up, Not quite away, but it does bend the front end. It does bounce off the wall. Romine and the guys would repair and come back. This is round number 1 against Amato. Romine was out of the throttle, saw Joey have problems, got back on the gas. A 5:39 doesn't win many of these.
Gary Scelzi and Corey McClanathan. Scelzi qualified number 1 for the 3rd time this year. He would parlay that into a win for the 3rd time this year. 473, and Team Winston starting to flex their muscles early in the 97 season.
On to Dallas and the Lone Star Nationals. Julie Scelzi had a baby this weekend. They brought pictures and surprised Gary with him. Here he is against Joe Amato, semifinal. Well, it was not the birthday present that Gary Scelzi wanted to give the little Dominic, but there'll be more.
Final. Dixon in the far lane with the Miller Lite car from the Snake. They haven't won in a long while. They still haven't won in a long while, and Joe Amato just continues pounding out the big numbers and picking up the wins.
That takes us to Englishtown, New Jersey, which was a strange race. Semi-final, Kristen Powell, near side, Gary Scelzi, far side. A couple of rookies going at it here. Team Winston up in a wheel stand, then up in smoke, and Kristen Powell at 478 goes to the final round.
This was another race where Joe Amato got banged in round 1. There's Ed McCullough tuning for Scott Coletta, the lone remaining Coletta in top fuel competition. Oh yes, there is a car in the other lane. It's the CarQuest car. Bruce Sarver up, Lee Beard does the tuning. A surprise red-light start for Scott Coletta, and Bruce Sarver goes to the finals with a 5:15. He would take on the Kid, 2 very unlikely final round opponents. And Kristen Powell lights it up, but she still celebrates her first win.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You know, I was coming down there and just kind of crossing my fingers, and I really laid over, and I heard it pop, and then I saw the flames come around my head. And got stopped as soon as I can, and I got out, and everyone told me I win.
Fantastic. No butterflies going to the starting line?
Oh yeah, tons, but we weren't past them.
She skipped her high school prom to come to that race. Pretty good choice. Heartland Park, Topeka, the Western Auto Nationals. That's Amato and Scott Coletta.
Good wheels-up charge for Amato, but it might have cost him as Coletta goes 466 into the final round. The guy that has just about owned at this place in the past couple of years. He would have Gary Scelzi and Team Winston in the finals. Well, maybe he does own this place as Scott Coletta wins for the 4th time in 5 years here.
With the history that we've had here, you know, I mean, you never want to think anything's a given, but I tell you what, if you got luck somewhere, use it up.
The Pontiac Excitement Nationals, Gary Scelzi, once again, Team Winston in the semifinals. They have not been beaten before the semifinals this year as he lines up against Joe Amato. Well, it wasn't pretty, and at 495, it certainly wasn't spectacular, but Gary Scelzi got the win.
Team Winston in the final against Tony Schumacher. This one wouldn't be spectacular either. Another 4.9 elapsed time. They win their 4th race of the year and their last for a long while, 1997. In the points, Team Red way out in front. Amato, Scott, Corey Mack. Did I say Corey Mack? Lurking back there in the 4-hole.
Yes! Oh, God. Thanks, buddy.
The Sears Craftsman Nationals. There's Alan Johnson again. Madison, Illinois, semifinals against the King of Speed. Scelzi into yet another final round, 478 at 287 miles an hour, stretching out that points lead.
Here's that Coletta kid again. So you got some more magic for Joe? Nope. Amato. Under 300 miles an hour, but into the next round.
It's the finals. It's Gary and Joe.
Joe, with a little revenge from that loss at Columbus, picks up the win and gains ground.
We're the Winston champ of this race. They win the inaugural Gateway Nationals, and they go out. Jimmy Prock and the whole team, I can't say enough. They did a tremendous job on my hot rod all day, and I just try to stay focused and concentrate. And last time he whipped my butt, but it's my turn today, and thank God for small favors.
Gary Selzy continues with the points lead and getting a little bigger over Amato and Scott and the rest of the gang.
Oh, thank you. That was a sweet one. That was a sweet one.
Jennifer Schrum, Miss Winston,
Always nice
presents
one, yeah.
Joe with a little hardware and a big hug.
I know it's tough to beat your car, but...
And that brings us to the Corey McLenithan era.
Yes, indeed. Mike Green, the crew chief for Corey Mack. It's been a long while between wins for this team. They have not won on the 1997 calendar yet. Gary Selzy out when the tires smoke. Corey McLenithan, that brand new race car here on the mountain, 310 miles an hour, is spectacular.
That was the first time this year Team Winston didn't make the semis. Here's Corey Mack in the semis against Mike Dunn. You can see by that onboard camera, Corey driving off into the sunset and into the final round.
Doug Herbert had earlier beaten Joe Amato in round one. Again, it's Tony Schumacher in the finals against Corey. It's a rematch of Indy 96, and the end result, the same thing.
Man, I have to thank Mike Green and Jim Brissett. They just, you know, they did it all. Thank you very much. And, you know, with McDonald's leaving and everything, we just kind of want to go out with a bang. But I'll tell you, McDonald's Ziploc champion, you know, just all the people that are here, Shell, everybody, Interstate Batteries, and Joe Gibbs, I hope you're watching, and we got this one for you, bud.
You're going to sleep with that trophy tonight, aren't you?
I think I will.
On to Sonoma. Eddie Hill in the near side, Scott Coletta on the far side. This is qualifying. Keep your eyes on the yellow car.
Alan, that's about as nasty a looking crash as you're going to see at speed. Ironically, he would be #1 qualifier, low ET, and come back to the track the same day.
You can see they had to cut the roll cage to get him out of the car, and Eddie is surveying the damage. All the safety equipment, though, really did its job. Corey Mack and Gary Selzy. As the Winston gang goes up in smoke, the McDonald's gang goes to the semis.
They would take on Joe Amato in the semifinal of the Autolite Nationals. Joe finally got out of the first round. Could he go to the finals? Nope. Corey Mack by about that much at 486, shy of 300, but gone to the championship round.
Waiting for him in the championship round is his old buddy Scott Coletta.
Corey gets the win. Both cars ran their best times of the weekend in a sensational final round. Corey now has won 2 in a row.
On to the Northwest Nationals. Eddie Hill in the unpainted Pennzoil ride far side. Joe Amato near lane. This is round 2.
Eddie Hill, coming back after that crash a week ago, now has won more rounds at this race than he had won all season long.
Corey Mack in the far side. Semifinals at Top Fuel, and it would be the end of the ride for Eddie Hill on this day. Corey trying to do what only one man has ever done, and that is win the entire Western Swing in Top Fuel. Team Winston his opponent, and Corey gets the win with his driving.
The other guy to do that, Amato, in 1991.
I'm speechless.
Could this be any better than it is right now?
I don't think it does get any better unless you win the Winston Championship. And
How about if you win on a hole shot?
Is that it, really? It does get better. It does get better.
We have a great onboard camera. This is one of the more spectacular shots you will see all year long. Mike Dunn in the Mopar car goes into a big wheel stand. Watch the onboard shots. This is Joe Amato in Top Fuel qualifying in the far lane against Kristen Powell. Joe is the story here. Amato, the quickest run ever at 4.562. Boy, that baby can run. This is round number 1. This is the Utter car. Brett and Vicky Fanning against Gary Scelzi. It's a gimme for Scelzi. You think? He would break on the starting line, and in one of the stunning upsets of this or any year, Vicky Fanning gets her first round win, and the first time Team Winston out in round 1.
Top Fuel final, Vandergriff against Corey Mack. Only one guy has ever won 4 straight. After the double wheel stands, Corey becomes the second guy to ever win 4 straight. The first one was Scott Coletta.
Making a big move in the points, going into the U.S. Nationals where Corey Mack was your defending champion. Jim Head on the far side, the close call. Communications car in this qualifying effort against Paul Romine, and this isn't exactly the way that Jim Head wanted to start his Indy weekend. Little fire, and then he's throwing stuff all over the racetrack. Not good when your car is throwing stuff out.
The weekend would get better for Jim Head here in the near lane against Amato. Amato up in smoke, Head into the semifinals. That wasn't even a close call.
Bob Vandergriff Jr. in the Jersey's car. Been to the finals before here at Indianapolis against Team Winston. Just like against Vicky Fanning and Reinhart. They smoked the tires out early, and Vandergriff into the semis at Indy.
When we got down to the final, it was Corey Mack and Jim Head. If you see any red shirts on the far side of the racetrack, they say Winston. Alan Johnson's been helping Head for a long time. Corey up in smoke, loses out on his bid for 5 in a row, and Jim picks up his second Indy title.
I'll tell you, I'm proud to join the ranks of the underdog. You know, Big Jim Dunn was an underdog yesterday, and we were again today. But, hey, I just won the Nationals every 12 years. You can count on me.
And you're going to Disneyland.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Jim, that'd be every 13 years. Hey, despite the woes for Team Winston, they are still in the points lead, still in the battle for that Winston title. Corey closing quickly.
I know that. I got it.
On to Reading, one of the fastest tracks on the planet for these cars. It's Amato. It's Scelzi. Joe struggled mightily in qualifying, and that's how they ended up racing in round number 1, and Joe sent the Winston boys home. Now he can make up some ground.
Scelzi gone, round 1, 2 out of the last 3 races. Amato would then take on Corey Mack, try to end his reign of terror. Joe gave him a good shot, came up a bit short. Corey McClanathan now with a chance for a revenge from his Indy final round loss against Jim Head.
This is the semifinal against Jim Head. And the McDonald's gang goes to their 6th consecutive final round, also tying a record.
Lee Beard's the new crew chief with the Budweiser King. He directs Kenny Bernstein up to the starting line. Been a long time since KB's been in the winner's circle. A good weekend for the King comes up that much short. Corey's tasting that Winston crown.
I'll tell you, you would have said this 6 races ago, I never would have thought it, but this McDonald's car is hauling, and we're going to make this real interesting with the championship.
On the strength of 5 wins in the last 6 races, Corey is now number 2, and the Team Winston gang is in his sights.
Everybody's all warm and fuzzy. You'd be warm and fuzzy if you were running like that too, Alan.
No doubt. Topeka, Kansas in the Sears Craftsman National. McClenathan, Larry Dixon, round 1. That was a huge blow to the McDonald's team's championship hopes as Larry Dixon takes the win at 468, and look at the speed.
There's that Lee Beard guy again in this semifinal round matchup against Team Winston. Bernstein the reigning Winston champ, tracks him down at the top end, and Kenny with a 4:68.309 to the championship round.
Amato and Kenny Bernstein in the final. Couple of golfing buddies duking it out. For Bernstein, big numbers and his first trophy since the Fram Nationals in Atlanta.
This is a long time coming. It's just nice to be back here. And I don't want to forget my good buddy Dale Armstrong either, because he's the one that got us here for a long time.
I didn't forget him. I talked about him earlier. He was rooting this red car home, and he's jumping up and down in his living room right now.
I know he is, and he's the greatest, and I wish him the best of luck over at Perdome's. But hey, Dale, we'll have to fight you next year, I guess.
But some new chemistry has certainly worked here for Kenny Bernstein, Bob.
Good job. Yeah.
It did at this race at Maple Grove. Would it at the next stop on the tour, the Pennzoil Nationals in Memphis? Find out. Corey McClanathan in the McDonald's car trying to rebound from a couple of disappointing runs. See what Mike Green's got up his sleeve for Jim Head. Seen this act before.
Jim Head gets the win as Corey has problems down track. 469, 312 miles an hour, and for the McDonald's guys, the championship has all but gone.
Larry Dixon and Gary Selsey. Maybe Corey can get a little help here from Dixon. Larry Dixon winless since Atlanta of '96 goes to the championship round. Maybe, just maybe, they can win one for the state.
His final round opponent would be Jim Head, and again, you can see some red shirts intermingled behind the close call car. All that help from Team Winston pays off. Jim Head his second win of the year. That's more than he's won in the last 5 years.
Won 3 rounds here at Memphis on a hole shot. We go to the Revell Nationals down in Dallas, Texas. That's Spike Gore on the far lane, who will forever be a little tidbit of history. He's got the best seat in the house to watch this classic run. After this, Steve Evans was there to give him the good news.
321 miles an hour.
No
321.
kidding. That's incredible. I'll tell you. This car is such a good car. And Mike Green, he's the best crew chief around right now. He's just awesome. I'll tell you, this thing was running on the other end real well.
Here's the man that had held the speed record coming in, Joe Amato. I think they're going to go after the ET record as well.
You got one man in my record, you want to get the other one, huh? Let's hope the sun gets a little hotter. Say it in half.
One of the few times this year in the semis we saw the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 qualifiers.
Selsey far side, Amato near side. Pretty good old drag race, and give the nod to Joe on his driving abilities. Of course, the 464 didn't hurt.
Into the finals, it's Corey Mack still with those slim final hopes alive. He would close within 93 points of Gary Selsey, and don't tell Corey Mack that this baby's over. They're going to chase it right down to the final race.
Thank you very much. Great. Another one. That's just great.
I know. He's going to sleep with that one, too. The Matco Tools Super Nationals still. Mike Reed, Corey Mack, thinking championship. Corey finished second back in '92, wants to move up a notch here. Little wisp of tire spoke, and that's all she wrote for the McDonald's gang. Dixon serving up a 470. Corey alone with his thoughts.
Since that McDonald's car debuted in Denver, it's lost 4 races, 2 to Jim Head and 2 to Larry Dixon.
That sets up the top fuel final. Team Winston, Gary Selsey. There's that Dixon kid again. Selsey blows the motor, and watch Dixon in the far lane just comes up that much short, and Gary Selsey wins it and the championship.
You are the Winston champion, buddy.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, what a run. I got to thank Winston. I got to thank Synergen and NGK and Mac Tools. Okay, now that's out of the way. What a day. I can't believe this. My wife's on the phone. Sorry about the car, Alan, but we got another one. I just didn't want to give up. The thing smoked the tire. It got out of the groove, and it was dead, and I just stabbed it anyway. It didn't matter.
We could feel the presence of Blaine Johnson here today. I could.
Let me tell you something. The round before this, when I thought I pedaled it, I didn't. So that wasn't me. That was the big guy up there. Are you sure we won the championship?
Positive.
All right! Yeah, buddy. Oh, man. You're beautiful, buddy. Okay, I'm done with the interview. I won and we won the championship.
Talking to his wife, Julie, on the telephone. When Alan Johnson got to the other end of the racetrack, he said, well, I guess we could have blown everything up and lost.
There's the way they stand at the top. Team Winston only out of the lead for 1 week this year.
And there is Alan Johnson, the crew chief and owner, the rest of the Johnson family coming down. This is a mission that they honestly feel they should have won a championship last year. Now the dream is fulfilled. One race left, Bob.
Little unfinished business. We call it the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. Dixon Selzy, where have we seen this before? Sensational run, and Selzy comes up big at the end of the racetrack. He wins the Top Fuel Classic at $100,000. Chance to double up and win more bucks if he can win again on Sunday.
This season started off with Gary Selzy and Joe Amato at this racetrack in these lanes after the sun went down, and Gary won it. Little revenge here for Joe.
Joe repeats as Winston Finals champ, the lowest elapsed time in history at 4:55. The points at the end of the year, it was Selzy and then the field. Congratulations to Gary Selzy, Team Winston. Congratulations to all of our 1997 champions. A marvelous year.
Wait till next year, that's all I can say.
Congratulations, Joe.
Oh, God.
Hey, I'm not the trophy girl, but I want to say congratulations.
I'll teach you to my Italian
We're on
style,
live
buddy.
TV. You don't want to do that,
I don't
Joe.
care. That's okay. We love you. I owe you a return because the last time with the Winter Nationals, remember, I hugged your
I don't remember. I don't
say
remember.
something. Say something.
Fresno, my
you're
cousins,
a true champion.
and Team Winston.
True champion, buddy, and you're going to wear the hat real well. Thank you. And we love you, and it's a pleasure racing us. And
A
next
couple
year
of
we're
very
gonna have a lot of fun
classy
out.
guys that came through a war together and are still good
You're
friends.
going to get butterflies.
One of the things that makes NHRA Winston Championship drag racing so great and made the 1997 season so memorable.
Tip of the cap to all of our champions. Matt Hines, John Force, Jim Yates, and that Winston guy.
It feels great to be Winston champion after my second year racing a pro stock motorcycle. I've been around drag racing all my life, and it's great to have the support of the fans and all the racers.
Dallas Gardner, if you think you see me smile at the finish line when I win a race, you ought to be standing behind me in line tomorrow when I deposit this check.
And most of all, I love the funny car teams that I race with because you guys are the reason I exist. And I really love you, and I thank you for that.
I've watched these things since I was 12 years old on ABC Wide World of Sports, and watched the Gartleses, the Perdomes, the McCulloughs, and all the greats. And I always wanted to drive one of these things.
And Gary, for the rest of the years, they're all going to be watching you. Thanks, and we'll see you in '98.
Want the best seat in the house for the hottest motorsports action? Then choose from more than 42 spectacular titles in the Diamond P Sports Motorsports Action Catalog. No collection is complete without the hottest selling action video series available anywhere. And They Walked Away. In all 5 And They Walked Away videos, you'll be thrilled by the awesome power of Top Fuel dragsters and funny cars unleashed and out of control. The chills and spills of motorcycles, speeding stock cars, and high-flying monster truck mayhem. You'll jump out of your chair with the nerve-tingling adventure of unlimited hydroplane racing included in And They Walked Away 5. And in each bone-jarring incident, the driver walked away. Drag racing fans will recapture all the exciting moments of the season in Diamond P's Drag Racing Yearly Review. Relive each year of the blazing straightliners with Drag Racing 86 to Drag Racing 97, as NHRA's top drivers compete for the coveted championship crown. Call the 24-hour hotline number 1-800-421-0725 and order from our special series of biographies on some of motorsport's most dominant legends, like drag racing's undisputed record setter, Kenny Bernstein, the king of speed.
You show me someone that enjoys losing, I'll show you someone that's never won. It's that simple.
Do
Meet Bernie Little, the force behind Miss Budweiser, Unlimited Hydroplane Racing's winningest team, in Bernie Little, Mr. Unlimited. And the nightmare continues with the man whose every pass down the track is nothing short of an amusement park thrill ride. John Force, still the one, is wall-to-wall excitement along with candid interviews.
Joe Paisano wanting to fist fight me in his shop one night over some rods that I owed money for.
Settle into your front row seat at the granddaddy of all World of Outlaw races with the Knoxville Nationals video series, including Knoxville 97. Relive every exciting pass, wild crash, and all the thrills from the crown jewel of sprint car racing. Still not full? Still craving more action? Then call 1-800-421-0725 and get the catalog. Inside, it's full of action videos, including the Shake, Battle, and Roll series. The videos that will satisfy your need for gritty, roaring monster truck and mud racing drama, four-wheel and off-road jamboree excitement, and the exciting car-crushing monster truck Thunder Drag series. Want more? You'll find that not every awesome fire-flipping tumble is unexpected in Joey Chitwood's 50 Years of Thunder. You'll experience precision stunts and death-defying feats from the most legendary thrill show on wheels. If you are into speed and looking good, then you will definitely want the best of Hot Rods 2, featuring some of the slickest, tricked-out speedsters. If you're looking to round out your drag racing package, don't miss 40 Years of the U.S. Nationals, an in-depth look at the evolution of the sport and its heroes at drag racing's most historic event. For practical tips and expert instruction on how to make your racing dreams a reality, pick up your copy of From Street to Script with legendary racer and instructor Frank Hawley. Learn the tricks and know-how it takes to become a competitive drag racer. Call the 24-hour hotline 1-800-421-0725 to order any of these videos and the exciting Diamond P video catalog. Inside, you will find special action and collector video packages that will fill your tape racks and save you money. Diamond P Sports has been your ticket to the best seat in motorsports for over 20 years. And the whole Diamond P Sports library is at your fingertips by calling 1-800-421-0725 now.